What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Today is Wednesday's weekly report, and today we're going to go over my top 10 favorite cards of the Breakthrough set. Now, I've actually already did a video about Breakthrough where I discussed it, but today I'm going to go over what I think are my favorite top 10 cards of the set. Now, this probably is not your favorite list, and there's probably some cards I missed out, but what are some cards that I missed out that are your favorite cards? There is 164 cards in this set. As you see right here, it says English had 164. There is a lot of different cards in this set here, and if you want to look through it, I'll leave a link down below to Bulbapedia where you can see everything about Breakthrough. The only one thing I'm going to include, or not include on this list, are reprint trainer cards. Now, there is a couple, and we will go over those first before we go over my top 10 list, so let's jump right into that. First off is Fisherman. Now, Fisherman is a reprint card from Heart Gold and Soul Silver. It's new to a lot of people. Don't get me wrong. It's a reprint card of an older card. If that makes sense. It's like you're gonna see cards that we just saw get rotated out and we're getting back. But Fisherman is a kind of card that we haven't had for a little while. Like Heart Gold and Soul Silver was 2 years ago, maybe? I'm not even sure here. Let's see if it tells us. No, it doesn't tell when it came out. Oh, but there's the old Fisherman artwork. Look at there. And we've had the Sky Ridge as well there. It was a little different wording here. But let's read the Breakthrough. It says, put 4 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your hand. Now, this way you don't have to discard anything. It is a supporter card. Don't get me wrong. It is a supporter card. And you might be like, why is Superior Energy one not better? Well, if you don't have anything to discard, you can just use Fisherman to get those, and also you can Burst Seeker back for a Fisherman, which I think is the best way here. And this kind of helps you in Standard and Expanded, and especially in Expanded when you have like Archiestoys, you can just you can use the Fisherman, get some water energies back into your hand automatically without wasting a superior energy retrieval, and you can, like I said, Verse Seeker for it. So I think this is a really good supporter card that's a reprint in this Breakthrough set. And it's, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reprint supporter cards or item cards, and Fisherman will be at the number 5 spot. Now, next up is going to be Heavy Ball. Now, Heavy Ball is just, you search for your deck for Pokemon with a retreat cost of 3 or more. They receive the 2 different artworks there. It was released in Next Destinies, and now it's released in Breakthrough. I'm pretty sure it has the same flavor text here. Just search deck for Pokemon with 3 retreat costs or more. It's, a very straightforward card if you play a very heavy deck. I think, like, metal decks, they have, like, Bronzong and maybe Tyrantrum. Those are 3 retreat cost Pokemon. It's not the best ball support we have right now, but it's definitely something to look into. We have the Love Ball, we have the Heavy Ball, we have the Ultra Ball. So a lot of different ball support here in the game, which is great just to help you search for any Pokemon you want. And that's why it's at the the 4 spots for the reprints. Next up is going to be Judge here. Now, Judge is another older card from Heart Gold. Oh, no, from Unleashed. Sorry, it was still playing around the Heart Gold and Soul Silver part. But Judge says each player shuffle his or her hand into his or her deck and draw 4 cards. Now, you might be like, yo, Squeaky, why is this, like, good? Like, this seems garbage because, I'm getting 4, my opponent's getting 4 here. But if you can play this right, you can, like, Judge and then Ultra Ball for Shaman and play the Shaman. Or maybe if you, like, Judge and then Quake and Punch them, you can make it where they can't play item cards to give you, like, use Verse Seekers and stuff like that. It's a very cool card, and if your opponent's not prepared for a Judge and you judge them down to 4 and they have, like, just a bad hand, it could ruin them, especially early game if they have, like, a bunch of energies in their hand or something and they just, like, their hand is just clogged the useless stuff, or useless stuff, because you're only getting 4 cards here, and that's why Judge is not the number 3 spot. I really do like Judge a lot because it does cause a lot of problems. It was always a funny thing when we were playing back in 2010, 2011, whenever Unleashed was. Or is it Unleashed? Did we say it? Yeah, Unleashed. You'd say, like, Judge. You're like, I'll play Judge. And you can say Judge real loud. And we would do it at our locals to make the Judge walk over. And be like, no, I was just playing Judge. So it was always a funny card that we'd play around as well. But it's just a cool thing, like I said. You can judge them, both your opponent down to 4 but your opponent is not expecting it, you can leave him off guard, and I really do like this card a lot. Next up, it's going to be the number 3 spots. Next up is going to be Scylla. And like I said, the other 3 cards were kind of, well, Heavy Ball, but Judge and Fisherman were definitely like older reprints. But now we're getting to one of the new ones. We just lost Scylla in Standard, and now we just got it back. It was only gone for a set. And Scylla, just search your deck for a trainer card, reveal it, and put it in your hand. Shuffle your deck afterwards. Just help you get that one trainer card you need for your turn. Maybe you need a Heavy Ball that we just talked about, or a Lava Ball, or a Ultra Ball, or anything like that. You can just get out with Scylla, and I really do like it a lot. It's third picture of the new artwork. She did get a new full art. Do we get this full art? I'm not sure. Not sure if we got the new full art or not. I was trying to see what it looks like in Breakthrough, but it doesn't seem like there is a new picture of it right now up on Bulbapedia, but still, Scylla, happy to have her back in the game here. Very exciting card, just to help you with consistency. And finally, the last and the first place trainer card that is a reprint is Lodestone from Plasma Freeze. This is a great card. It's sad that we had it gone for a set, but now we got it back for City's Time when it's going to be pretty relevant in the standard format here. And this Pokemon, this card statue, has a no retreat cost, which is great. It just gives your Pokemon a free retreat. You don't have to worry about retreat costs, have to discard energies, and which I like the new Floatstone, but I'll probably be playing the old Floatstone just because I don't own any breakthrough cards right now, but hopefully we can change that. But the old Floatstones, I also always like to play older cards as well. If you ever see me play Energies, I'm always playing the second edition Energies. I don't know why, I guess I'm weird like that. But that is the 5 reprints here. Like I said, there's Fisherman, which gets you 4 energy cards straight from your discard pile into your hand, and it is a supporter card. Next up was Heavy Ball. Search your deck for a Pokemon with 3 retreat cost or more. Judge, each player shuffles their hand into a deck and draw 4 cards. Scylla, search deck for a trainer card, and Floatstone, each Pokemon to play, or each card, this card, oh my goodness, this tool this card is attached to has free retreat. There we go, we all know what it does here. Alright, so there is a top 5, or the best reprint trainer cards. Like I said, that is not part of my top 10 list, so let's get into this top 10 list, because it's already been a couple of minutes here. And first up, it's going to be not a very straightforward card. It's going to be Vanillix here. Now, John Collier actually pointed Doutzen out to me, this card, and some of the people have been talking to me about this. Now, it has an attack called Frigid Breath. It does 30 damage, which it's not a lot. I'll give you that much. It is not a lot, but until the end of your next turn, each player can't play any supporter or stadium cards from his or her hand. Now, you might be like, oh, yeah, okay, that seems like garbage because, who cares? Supporter cards, not that big of a deal. You still have Shaman and stuff. But one thing you have to realize is when Executor was a big card, it only hit for 10, and it locks supporters. So Vanillix could be a great Executor here. Now, it is a stage 2, while Executor was a stage 1. But you can still use, an expanded. You have the muscle bands and you have muscle bands as standard as well. But you have Silver Bangle. You can use Rough Seas to heal your Vanillix, and they can't bump your stadium. You can play Verbank with lasers, and they can't bump your stadium, which is great here. And expanded, if you get a Garbodor, you can shut down abilities as well. So now they can't play stadiums or abilities, which is kind of great there. And if there's a way to item lock, like maybe Vileplume. I know you can't have Vileplume and Garbodor in the same deck, but maybe in Standard, this is what my friend John Collier was saying, maybe in Standard you could have Vanillix and Vileplume out at the same time, VV. There was a deck called Vanillix and Vileplume Victini. Kind of not the same concept, but it was definitely a powerful deck. And maybe we will see Vanillix Vileplume come back. Vanillix shutting down stadium cards and supporter cards. Vileplume shutting down item cards so they can't use Acrobike or Ultra Ball to get those Shamans. And they're kind of stuck in a weird spot there. Now, it does need a 2 energy attack. Maybe not so much of a big deal. And I'm trying to think of anything else. Like, the 30 damage is maybe not that much. But, once you get the Vileplume lock, you can have the AZs to pick up your Vanillixes from getting knocked out. Send up another Vanillux while you're manually loading up one since they can't Lysander another one up, which is great. So maybe Vanillux Vileplume, something to look into. It's going to be definitely a weird deck, and it'll be something for Rogue Tuesday for sure, so look out for that. Next up, we're going to go over Magnezone. Now, Magnezone is kind of like the Blastoise. We've talked about it before here. As often you like during your turn before you attack, you may attach a Lightning Energy card from your hand to one of your Pokemon. Now, this is just like Blastoise that we saw win the World Championship. The only difference is you can't Archees or Maxies this Magnezone. You have to evolve into a Stage 2 to start using the Magnetic Circuit. And that's why it's at the 9th spot and not higher up on the list. Some people are hyping the Magnezone. I don't know how good it's going to be here. For sure. Oh man, like, I want it to be good. Don't get me wrong, I love lightning Pokemon. I love Pikachu. There's new Pikachu EX supposedly coming out, which if it does, I would definitely be tempting to play the Magnezone Pikachu deck. But it is a Stage 2. It's a Stage 2. It does take a second to get out, and by then you could be just overrun by Pokemon. I don't know. So right now it's in the 9th spot, but we'll have to see. Does Pikachu come out? Right now it doesn't have any good attackers off my top of my head. There's like the new Raikou that does like 50 plus 20, I think so. It's just like the Keldeo. No, it doesn't seem that great. It doesn't seem that great for sure. It's going to depend if that new Pikachu comes out, the Pikachu EX, for sure. But that's why it's at the, the 9th spot in Magnezone. Definitely an iffy card, but does have a high possibility. Now, next up is going to be Borghetti. Looks like Misty's sister. I know it's somebody from something. Let's see if it tells. Oh, here we go. It's the host of the Pokemon box from Ruby and Sapphire and Pokemon Bank. That's where she's from, if you're wondering. But it says search deck for 1 basic Pokemon EX or 3 basic Pokemon, except for Pokemon EX, shuffle your deck afterwards. Now, I just like this card because it has different options here. You can Borghetti, you can get like maybe a Hoopa if you need a Hoopa to search for EXs. If you're playing like multiple basic Pokemon, you can get Borghetti for basic Pokemon. The cool thing about this card for sure is if you're playing some kind of Bats deck or anything that uses multiple Pokemon with EX Pokemon, so like a Metal deck for sure could be cool. Like you can use it to get like maybe some Bronzors turn 1, or if you need that 1 EX Pokemon, you can get like a Hoopa to search out your EX Pokemon. It's definitely a cool little idea. Like you can Borghetti, like I said, for Hoopa to get 3 EX Pokemon, or you can Borghetti for 3 basic Pokemon if you need more setup that way, depending what's in your hand. Like if you already have a bunch of EX Pokemon, obviously you're going to go for the basic Pokemon route. If you have a bunch of basic Pokemon that are not EX, you can go for the Hoopa route and get the EX Pokemon you need there. So I like Borghetti a lot here. It's definitely a turn 1, and it's going to be maybe like a one-of, never really played more than that. So that's why it's at the 8th spot here. So right now we have the Vanillux, we have the Magnezone, we have Borghetti, and next up we have Mega Houndoom EX, the first EX of the set here. Now Houndoom would be up in the rankings if it wasn't for Scythertoad EX. Scythertoad EX, it's still a very dangerous card for this deck. You know, Scythertoad's still relevant in Standard with Crushed Hammers, Enhanced Hammers, and a Quake Punch with a Muscle Band deals 100 damage. I know it's still 3-shots it, but you can play they can play Fated Talon to do the 10 damage for that one turn, and then they can 2-shot your Mega Houndoom. It's definitely a bad situation for Mega Houndoom. That's why he's further down on the list here. But Inferno Fang, 80 damage. You may discard all Fire Energy attached Pokemon if you do. This attack does 80 more damage. 160, but slap a Muscle Band on that guy. Maybe you can Tool Retriever the Link off. You put it back Muscle Band, or you can just end your turn by manually attaching like a Fire Energy. And then, oh no, if you Mega Evolve, then that doesn't work there. So yeah, you just have to maybe, like I said, Toll Retriever, put a Muscle Band on it, which is not a bad idea as well. Like, you can conserve your links early, then Toll Retriever, pick them back up, put them on the Houndoom when you need them for later. But, you know, you do have to discard these cards, but there's a new Fire Energy, Burning Energy, when you discard a Fire Energy to get reattached to that Pokemon there. So you constantly just hit for 160, 160, 160, 160 over and over again once you get those 2 fires out. But like I said, they will get Enhanced Hammer off so quickly against Scythertoad, or at least be trying to crush Hammer here. So that's why it's the 7th spot. Yeah, 10, 9, 8, 7. So the 7th spot goes to Mega Houndoom. Now next up, it's going to be Mega Glalie here. Now, Mega Glalie is a water-type Pokemon. It is weak to Steel, so you do have to watch out for maybe... I was going to say Giratina, but he's a Dragon Pokemon. What am I thinking? So maybe Dialga. There's not really a straight Metal deck in Standard right now. And Expanded, maybe. Now, Mega Glalie has an attack called Cryo Mouth for 100 damage. So straight up 100 for a water and a DCE, which is not bad at all. You just water energy and a DCE and you can start using Cryo Mouth, which is, like I said, it's not that bad of an attachment for sure. Turn 2, you're doing 100 damage. Not as strong as Houndoom, but if this Pokemon has 10 or more damage counters on it, this tech does 150 more damage. That means you're doing 250 to any Pokemon you want to if they do punch you there. And of course, that's going to happen. You're going to have to Lily Glalie spot up in the X spot. They might hit it for a turn, and then you can Mega Evolve, start punching people. You can play like Rough Seas to heal it down for 30, and that way it doesn't get knocked out. It has 220 HP, so it's going to be a law. It's going to at least have 2 to 3 turns before it gets knocked out there. Now the big question is what's the best way to do the 10 damage counters to yourself if they don't attack you? And I don't have an answer for that right now. At the top of my head, there's probably something cute for Mega Glalie to be done. Maybe the Secret Aqua Team Base. I think that's the one that does 10 damage to yourself. If you put down a Pokemon that's not a Team Aqua Pokemon. I could be wrong. I think that's correct, though. So maybe that could be something to look into. But besides that, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. What do you think? Is there something else you could put with Mega Glalie to hurt itself? I'm not sure. But right now it's at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what is this? 6 to 5 spot? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so the 6th spot right now goes to Mega Glalie here. Alright, so Mega Glalie at the 6th spot here. Now, next up is going to be a support Pokemon here. We've talked about before here. It's going to be Dodrio. I don't know. However you want to say it. It has the Retreat Aid ability, which is it's basically a reprint card. Don't get me wrong, it is a reprint card, and it's not an item card, so that's why it's okay to have it here. Now, Retreat Aid, as long as Pokemon is on your bench, your active Pokemon's retreat cost is 2 less, which is great here. A lot of the Pokemon in the game have 2 to 3 retreat costs. If they have 4, that's crazy. With 4, it's hardly heard of. But 2 or 3 is basically the normal, the norm for sure. Like 1, 2, or 3, 4 is ridiculous. So all your Pokemon basically have 1 retreat cost or less, unless I think Tyrantrum has a 4 retreat cost. Maybe I'm trying to think. I don't know, but. Basically, all your Pokemon have 1 retreat cost or less, or free retreat, which is great with Dodrio. I love it. You just put a 1/1 line in your deck, all your Pokemon basically have free retreat if it's on your bench. But the problem is it does take a bench space. And right now, we're in a format where everybody's using Shamans to help draw through your deck. You're using Hoopa to get your EXs. You're playing multiple, Pokemon. You have 1 in the axe spot, 1 power up on the bench. So your bench space is usually cluttered. And if you have Dodrio there, I don't know. It kind of just, makes it where you have 4 bench spots instead of 5. So, maybe not such good of a card, but I really do like the Retreat Aid a lot. Don't get me wrong, it is a very, very great ability here that we will see a lot of decks utilize. But, I hate to say we'll have to see what happens, but we'll have to see what happens here. But that's why it's at the 5th spot for sure. It's a great support Pokemon. So right now the 5th spot goes to Dodrio. Now, next up, we're going to be looking at Mega Mewtwo EX. And this is my favorite Mega from the set here. And a lot of people are saying, Mega Mewtwo is garbage, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't hit for a lot of damage, but whatever. I do love the card a lot. It is, Mewtwo. Everybody loves Mewtwo. It is the Mega Mewtwo. Is this the Y or... man, I'm so bad with my Mewtwo's. I don't know which Mewtwo is this. I'm not sure. But you see here, there's... Oh, man, look at this. 4-1. Oh, my gosh, that looks amazing. Oh, man, that full art Mega Mewtwo. Okay, let's go over the attack here. It has the attack Psychic Affinity. It does 10 damage base, which is not a lot. But this attack does 30 more damage times the amount of energy attached to both active Pokemon here. And, man, so 30 plus, so if you have just 2 energies on you, you're doing 70 damage straight up with just a DCE. But, of course, you can play this in so many different decks. You can play that with the Magnezone I talked about just a second ago. You can play this in Archie's Choice if for some reason you want to hit a lot of damage in Mega Mewtwo. You can play this in Bronzong. The only thing that's bad about this card, though, is it isn't affected by weakness. I wish it said weakness and resistance, but it's just weakness, which is kind of annoying. But you know, the only weakness really in the game right now that's like a psychic Pokemon is Mewtwo X. I'm trying to think. It has a psychic, like Lucario, might be like, ooh, yeah, if it can hit Lucario for weakness, that'd be great. But I think this tech is still great, and like I said, this is my top 10 list. You know, it probably is not the best playable Mega, but this is my favorite Mega. I love Mewtwo. This is my favorite Mewtwo version here, even though I don't know what version of Mewtwo it is. Like, I know there's Mega Mewtwo Y and Mega Mewtwo X or something like that. And leave it down below what Mewtwo it is and help me learn better about Pokemon since I am so bad at this stuff. But yeah, I love this card a lot. The artwork for the 4 is amazing right there. And I really do like this attack because you can just load a bunch of energies on it and one-shot a Pokemon. And if your opponent gets crazy and they play a Pokemon with a bunch of energies, Mega Mewtwo can take that out. Now, next up is going to be the next 3 cards are very tough for me. I didn't know what order to put them in because this Mega Mewtwo is the 4th spot. So we're down to 3. So we're going to go next to Octoly here. Now, Octoly, you might be like, what is going on here? Octoly? It has an attack called Hug. Squeaky, what are you doing here? But don't get me wrong, Octoly has the attack called Abyss Hand. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand here. Okay, so earlier we talked about Judge, how your opponent can put down to 4 cards. Both you and your opponent can put down 4 cards. Sorry about that. Once that happens, you can play some of the cards down in your hand, and then use Abyss Hand to draw back into 5 cards. And that is amazing. Like, it's just constant 5. And some people might be like, whoa, that's, 5 cards, that's nothing. But look at Shaman EX. Like, Shaman EX gets you 6, and every deck plays that card. Like, at least one of almost every 90% of decks play Shamans. I'm like 95% of decks play Shamans. Don't get me wrong, it's probably way more than that. We'll just leave the 5% out there just in case. So if you don't have money for Shaman, Octoly is the way to go for sure. Now, back 2 years ago, Electrode was the same kind of a card, but you have 4 cards in your hand, and I love that card. Electrode was such a cool card, because you can play your hand down, draw into 4, play some more hands down, and then you're good for the turn. So Octoly lets you get 5 cards in your hand every single turn, and you can have this for multiple Octolys. Like, if you have a 2-2-line Octoly, woo, buddy! Like, you can draw on anything you want to, and that's why Octoly is in my 3rd spot here. I didn't make it my 1st spot, but Electrode has a place in my heart, which means Octoly has a place in my heart here, so that's why it is at the 3rd spot here. Now, next up, and they're pretty much the same card here, but they are 2 different cards, kinda. You'll see what I mean here in a second. So, at the 2nd spot goes to Zorok from Breakthrough here. Just the regular. It has the ability Stand-In, which is the ability Russian, just a different wording. Once during your turn before you attack, if this Pokemon is on your bench, you may switch Pokemon with your active Pokemon, just like the Keldeo we saw before. And Lodestone is back out, so that way Zorok has free retreat once you slap a Lodestone on it. Now, it actually has a great attack here too. My check does 10, then attack does 30 more damage each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So if they have 5 Pokemon, let's see, so 5 times 3 is 15, plus 10, 160 with the Muscle Band, 180, you're knocking out almost every Pokemon in the game there, or almost every EX Pokemon in the game there, and, in a Dark deck, you can just put that in there. Now your Evital's gonna have free retreat, you can switch between the Baby Evital, the Evital EX, you can play Absol with the move 30 damage, and maybe, utilize Zorok that way, and that's why Zorok is at the number 2 spot. I always love Dark Pokemon. The past 2 years, I've gotten my invite with an Evital deck, so don't be surprised if I am playing an Evital deck at Cities, especially with the Zorok with the stand-in ability. And Mind Jack is a great attack as well. We saw an Absol is a little bit different, but it still hits for such a huge amount of damage. And especially, like I said earlier, every deck is playing Shaman. They're going to put multiple Shamans down on your bench. You can license them up, Mind Jack them for the knockout, and that's why Zorok is at the number 2 spot. But like I said, the number 2 spot is kind of like the number 1 spot. So the number 1 spot goes to Zorok Breakthrough. This is probably my favorite card of the set. And if you're any of my friends, you know I've been talking about this card. Oh man. So Zorok Break retains the attacks, abilities, weakness, resistance, and retreat cost of its previous evolution. So it still has a stand-in, so you can rush in and retreat. The Zorok now has 140 HP instead of 100, and it has this amazing attack, which I love so much, and I've missed it. Foul Play. Choose one of your opponent's attacks and use it as this attack. Now you can use a Quake Punch with Zork. You can use, let's see, what's another popular EX Pokemon? You can use Giratina. You can use Machamp's attack. You can use Sceptile. Man, I'm trying to think. And you can use Yveltal. I don't know. You can use, what is it called? Turbo Bolt. I think you can actually Turbo Bolt energies from your discard pile onto Pokemon with Foul Play. Don't get me wrong, but I think that'd be a cool combination here. So Zorok Break is going to be so amazing. It's going to lead to so many cool plays you can do in your game for sure. You can stand in, break to the Zorok Break, have 140 HP. So now instead of 100, it has 140. And like I said earlier, you're going to play the Zik with Dark Pokemon, and Dark Pokemon have... this is only for Standard, though. In Expanded, it's not that great. But for Standard, Yveltal and Mewtwo X are weak to Lightning, while Zork is weak to Fighting, which is great there. So you have some type coverage, but even then, it's still Dark Pokemon. Lightning Pokemon's still going to be kind of shaky for sure. But you're going to play maybe, Shadow Circle, play the last year during Cities. So maybe Dark will see a reappearance here, especially with Zorok coming out. And that's why Zorok Break is in the #1 spot, because of Foul Play. And because if you played back in 2011, I think, maybe 2012, I'm trying to remember exactly when it was, there was a deck that was called Yamega Donphan Zork, or better known as Megazord, as some people called it. Like the Power Rangers Megazord. And that was a deck I played for a really long time. So Zorok has a place in my heart, and seeing the attack Foul Play just makes me so excited. So that's why Zorok Break is in the #1 spot, like I said here before. And also, I forgot about a card while I was doing this. Mr. Mime is getting a reprint with that bench barrier, making it where none of your Pokemon can be hurt on the bench when Mr. Mime is down. But once again, it becomes a real liability since so many decks are playing Shaman EX and making it where you don't have that many bench spots. So maybe Mr. Mime won't be that great of inclusion. And plus, in Standard, I don't know that many decks that hit the bench off the top of my head. So Mr. Mime's definitely like an 11th card, nowhere near the top 10 for sure. But hope you enjoyed this way back Wednesday. I feel like it was a long time recording this. I'm not even sure how long it's been. I can't see the time. But hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you learned something new about Breakthrough. Like I said at the beginning, what are some cards that I missed out that you love from the new set? There is a ton of stuff. You got the Raichu Break, you got the Raikou, like I said. There's the Giovanni's thingy-mabobber, which I don't really like that much. Some people are going to get mad at me, but I don't think it's that great of a card. I'm sorry for saying that. Parallel City is another card that I'm not sure how great it's going to be on the top of my head, just because I don't like any deck that needs stadium cards. Already has a good stadium card, and Parallel City is like a #2 stadium. So don't hate me. Don't hate me. But yeah, that's all the cards I think on top of 10. I did look through a lot on this Bulbapedia website, looking through all these cards. Like I said, there is 164 of these, so if I missed one, I am very sorry if I missed your favorite card. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hope you have a great Wednesday. Thanks for listening and learning stuff about Breakthrough. Have a great day. Alrighty, bye. Alright guys, if you want more information about Breakthrough and some of the decks that you can play with the new set for Standard and or Expanded, I think most of these articles talk about Standard though. I'm going to leave a link down below to 4 different articles that talk about these sets. The first one's going to be the interesting ideas for Breakthrough by Franco, which is on 60 cards. I'll leave that down below. Next up is Kevin Kobayashi with a Breakthrough review where he talks about all about Breakthrough. Actually, Franco goes over different decks with this set here. Kevin goes with Mies, who got second place at Worlds. They talk together about some of the interesting cards from the new set here. Next up is Costume Party by Serena, who talks about, regionals, retrospective, Breakthrough standout, and early reads on the Standard meta, which is pretty cool here. And Break to the Future by Andrew Mahone. All these are great articles. I think all these actually require memberships, though. If you don't have memberships, you can read some of these. So you can read at least a tad bit preview. I see on PokeBeach you can read all this stuff. I'm not a member on PokeBeach right now, so you can see how much article you can read on. But on 6 prizes, there's some information you can read, and same with the 6 cards out as well. So make sure you check out these articles if you want more about the Breakthrough set. Alright, have a great Wednesday. Alrighty.